Hello. My name is Felix,
Hey everyone, Roy here.
and yeah, we're here to answer any questions you might have about Ledger related issues or anything like that. Let me just pop our names up there actually, and
There
yeah,
we go.
we'll be good to go. Um, yeah, uh, I think I already mentioned it in the chat, so yeah, pop your questions into the chat. We'll try to get to answering them as well. And I think we may as well just get right on to it, I guess.
Yep,
The
sounds
main
good.
things I always mention: don't give out your 24 words, don't sign any transactions you don't trust. But yeah, uh, first up, Wild Bill, 419. Good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
But actually, we just saw this comment from Robert Vermouth. Very cool surname, by the way. Are we sure this is a legit Ledger channel or a scam? And I think the first thing that for us comes to mind is like, I don't know about you, but like verify, don't trust, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
you hit the nail on the head there. If you are doing your research and you know this is like on like a um, scammy website, then it definitely is something that you need to think about if it's a scam or not for sure. But yeah, I would like to hope we're legit. I'm working with the company in their offices, but make sure
Yeah,
that you check for yourself as well, right? It's about knowing for yourself.
yeah. Just quite simply, yeah. Don't trust, verify. So it's always good to be vigilant, and the way that you can always check it, by the way, is we have this YouTube page linked on our website as well. So that's always a way to double check it too. But honestly, excellent attitude. Appreciate it.
100%. Um, Next up we have it was Wild Bill. How do I get my XDC onto a Ledger Nano X? The app is on my device, but no XDC on Ledger Live. So I think the main thing would be there that it would be that XDC wouldn't be supported directly within Ledger Live. But as you've been able to see, there is an application for the device, and it would mean that it's supported with it's supported with the device. Like I mentioned, you might need to use a third-party wallet. I think the main ones that I normally talk about would be like my Ethereum wallet. There was one other one I'm thinking of.
My crypto.
My crypto,
Yeah.
yes, that's the other one that I normally think to recommend as well. I'm not sure if you have any other left field ones as well.
I mean, the one that always comes to mind as well is just quite simply MetaMask. It's not with the XTC app, but that's a big difference. And also, it's not going to give an XTC address that starts with XTC. Instead, it would start with 0x. The way that that works actually is you can quite simply interchange 0x with XTC, and it would still work. But it's with the Ethereum app rather than the XTC app on your Ledger device. But yeah, quite a few ways actually indeed to manage it, just not in Ledger Live as it is just yet.
Okay. Next up, I can see that we might be having some issues with the video, guys. So I am trying to look through it as we're talking, just so you guys do know. What have we got here? How do we? Next up is Crypto Professor, which is obviously a very cool one. Hey champs, the other day I asked Dan if STX, so Stacks being the crypto, was available on Ledger Live mobile, but I'm unable to see it. I think the first thing I'd be thinking of is which
Operating system?
exactly
Yeah,
right.
I was wondering the exact same thing.
If you are on Android, it should definitely be there. I'd be wondering if you are on the latest version. I think, Roy, you're actually checking now, aren't you?
Yeah, and I actually have some news. So, we do now have the iPhone Ledger Live Mobile 3.30 out now. So if you don't have this updated yet, don't hesitate to check out the App Store. But once you have 3.30, you can add a Stacks account. I actually just double checked it, and Stacks is right there at least. So that's a good sign.
So that's probably, yeah, the first things we think of there, just making sure you're all updated and everything like that, especially mobile. It should be one of the more major things there, I would say. So there you go, and you can always, I don't think we mentioned it before, but you can get a hold of us at like support.ledger.com. We can actually try and see if we can have a more extended chat with you and see if we can troubleshoot your issue there, at least. Next up, Robin. Hopefully you did the verification. I bought a ledger on Amazon before I knew that was a concern. Actually not a concern, by the way, but I'll get into that in a second. Does ledger sell on Amazon, or should I not use that one? No reason not to use that one, as long as you go through the steps within Ledger Live, which what you'll see in the application is it'll do a quote-unquote genuine check, and it'll check if for any that is genuine, of course, that whether or not there's any hardware or software changes, malicious changes, and anything like that. That's the main thing that would make sure that if you're using it with a if you bought it from a third party, even if a friend gave it to you, as long as you generated the recovery phrase right on the device, you'll be right as rain. And yeah, that's why buying on Amazon isn't a concern at all. But we also do sell them directly on Amazon as well. So hopefully that covers all of the concerns. I'm not sure. Oh, one thing: if you're downloading from Ledger, downloading Ledger Live, download from ledger.com. Don't download from the website, like the Microsoft Store or anything like that. So
yeah, just make sure you're on ledger.com, and not that you just Googled Ledger Live download, because that might end up getting you on a fake page. For our official Amazon pages, by the way, we have a resellers website, and this actually has the list of every official reseller, including our Amazon stores per country as well.
okay. Next up, we have stacks. Sorry, I'm just what is the Ledger screen.subtitles on my app? Not sure if you can answer that one. I think I figured out the issue for our streaming, by the way. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. So for that, unfortunately, it's a little visual glitch right now in Ledger Live, which only occurs if you actually have a password set. It basically gives a form of a false error message. That's not really the case, to be honest. It's kind of placeholder text, but rest assured, you can simply ignore this part. You can still enter your password as intended and unlock Ledger Live and use it the way it's meant to be used. But yeah, rest assured, we are aware of that one, and we'll make sure that in the next version that's no longer going to appear.
Next up, Block X Block. Does Ledger Live support Avalanche P-Chain? Will we see it soon in Ledger Earn also? So no P-Chain. Wait, P-Chain is
The staking platform.
Okay, platform. So no. But doesn't mean that the Ledger device doesn't support it at all. So you can definitely, definitely give that a try. With I think the web wallet is what I always use.
Yeah, the Avalanche wallet. Exactly.
One thing that another customer actually mentioned was the Core wallet.
Core wallet.
Core,
Yep.
Core.app. No like relation or anything like that, but one that I saw was being used, and yeah, at least we had some of the features that you might expect as well. So yeah, give that a try as well. No dates, I think, on Ledger Earn or anything like that. But it's just,
No, I do know that we are considering the P-Chain, but for now, there's no news on that yet, and that's definitely not something that we can guarantee. Maybe it's coming at some point in the future, but no answer on that yet, I'm afraid. But you can, of course, already stake Avalanche with your Ledger device. In order to do that, just make sure you use your Ledger device with the Avalanche wallet, and from there you can actually delegate as you like.
okay, so it's a bit choppy. Hopefully it's not too choppy. We're just trying to make sure we're fixing that issue, and definitely let us know how it goes. If it hopefully has improved is the genuine hope. I'm trying to put it in and get it up and running. So sorry about that, guys. So it seems like we have some office issues we need to fix as well. Next up, didn't scroll too far, did I? Yes. Blue Falcon Man. I was asked to update software. Okay, yeah, this was looks normal, except this strange. It is definitely something that I would be wanting to verify as well, right? It's not it's not nice to see that, especially in something that's supposed to be secure.
Yeah, exactly. It raises some flags, and that's totally understandable. I would also be scratching behind my ear about like, wait, what's going on there? But don't worry, it's just something that can be ignored, and you'll see that in the next version of Ledger Live. That ain't gonna be there anymore.
Exactly right.
So yeah, sorry for the confusion on that one.
Okay, next up we have Leon, a bit of a longer one, so hopefully I'm going to be able to go through it. I do see, hopefully the video is better, so definitely keep an eye, let us know if you have any issues. So, hello, you have the following problem. You sent BTC from Binance to Ledger, and then logged into Ledger Live on your Android and still use it to this day. Your entire portfolio is also displayed there, and you have also installed and connected the Ledger desktop app. But BTC is not recognized there. All the other coins are. My idea now was to send the BTC from my cell phone to a new BTC account, but there is always an error message in the last step. I don't know how to continue. I already wrote the same thing to support a few minutes ago. I hope you understand my problem. I already wrote to support. What do you, I think I have an idea of what the error message would be.
Is it going to be wrong recovery phrase or passphrase?
Like wrong private keys word of the account would be the wording, And this is what I think the guys would ask you as well, would probably be, if you're getting that error message, have you reset the device? Do you have another device? That kind of thing.
Yeah, I would recommend probably dropping your tickets or something like that, like your ticket number, I mean, just so we can take a closer look, because from here we would only be, hypothesizing, to be perfectly honest, and we would need some more details. So if you could make sure to drop the ticket number in the chat, we will get back to you as soon as we can.
We can actually, bring up the ticket and jump in and have a chat with the guys that might be, discussing it with you as well. But yeah, that would be the main thing I'd be thinking of. If there's a reset of the device, if you just need to make sure you have the same device, or did you, maybe think that, like accidentally, because it can be quite opaque, right? When you look at it, it's like the first thing that comes up is set up as a new device, which I guess in some wordings can make sense in set up as a new device, So it's the kind of thing we'd want to go into more detail for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, enough said. I have a Ledger Nano X and have two different passphrases for two accounts within my Ledger Live. Okay, I'm typing in correct PIN for the original passphrase and can't deposit because it's showing an error. Deposit, so you're probably going through the receive process, and the PIN, that's probably the passphrase that you've attached it to, would be the last one you attached it to, and so it'd probably be the wrong passphrase, I imagine.
Yeah, there's a few things that are coming in my mind right now, and I'm not entirely sure I fully understood the situation. By passphrase, do you mean recovery phrase, or do you mean your 25th word passphrase? If you're saying the original passphrase, do you mean the 24 words, or do you mean you had passphrase 1 and now you've created passphrase 2 as well? So there's a few things that honestly I'm kind of wondering. I'm seeing yes, but I'm not sure what you're saying yes to, I'm afraid. So if you could give me a little bit more detail there, I might be able to address that from there.
I think the main thing would be, I think the way that I would do it if I was weirded out by getting that, I'd be like, okay, just going to go back, reattach the PIN to the passphrase I think I know it should be, and then go back and then try the what is it called, the receive process again, and then that way you'll be able to like know for certain. I think that's
exactly.
right?
Alternatively, you could even use the set temporary option as well. So I see my original PIN is not working to receive crypto. So by original PIN is not working, would you mean the original PIN that you had attached to a 25th word of your own choosing? Is that correct?
I actually think I understand, and
yeah, I think so too, but I'm just waiting to see if that's correct or not.
What we'll do, maybe we'll enough said. Definitely keep. Maybe if you can type the full story into the chat, then we'll jump on to the next question, and then we'll just jump back onto later and see what you say there. Hopefully we can try and figure it out on stream. That'd be what I'd love to do. Levi XPR61 mentioned, is there any security breach with the new recover feature? So that would be a flat out no. You can make it nice and concise there. Can't somebody random subscribe to it with a fake identity and steal my coins? And that would be part of the what's the word? The verification that would happen. So you wouldn't be able to do it with a random identity or anything like that.
Yep.
And if you don't want that feature on your Ledger device, so if you don't want to use the feature, there's no nothing forcing you to use the feature. And I think the main part here that I would always mention with anything that has to do with your secret is you have to consent to using it. So you don't even have to like start it or do anything with it if you don't want to use it at all. And you never even like touch the code essentially. So for all those questions, basically no breach at all. Can somebody random subscribe to it? That would be a no. And if you don't want the feature, that's perfectly okay. And to be honest, it's a kind of thing that I don't think I would be using with Ledger Recover, like with the service itself. But you know, I'm a bit of a cheapskate, so I think that's why, you know, maybe I'm not the targeted feature. But there are a lot of people, I think. I was actually on Reddit, and there was someone that had unfortunately lost both their device and the recovery phrase in a natural disaster, right? You know, that's the exact kind of situation, I think, where, you know, what you do have might be your identity, and if you can verify that, then you still have access to those funds because you know, also can verify. So
yeah, I mean, there's definitely a demand for a feature like this, that's for sure. But as Felix indeed said, keep in mind, it's not a feature that you're going to be randomly subjected to. As a matter of fact, it's a paid feature, so if you're not paying, you're not getting it, basically. But yeah, I mean, it's normal to, you know, always be wary with these kinds of things, but naturally this has been thought of. You also actually do need to go through, for example, a selfie process during this as well. So even if you just have a random document, that is not going to be enough.
Right, let's jump back onto what Nuff said, as mentioned.
So I think I then understand. I think what happened is that you may have added kind of a third pin with a passphrase, but what it actually does in this case is it overwrites the previous passphrase that you have. You can only have one passphrase attached to a pin on your Ledger device at all times. Otherwise, it overwrites the previous one. So what you can still do right now is, again, overwrite the current passphrase. So you would have to go again through, you know, settings, security, passphrase, and do that again. Or you can actually set a temporary passphrase this one time, if you like, as well. That way you could actually access those funds currently until your Ledger device turns off. The moment that your Ledger device actually turns off, that passphrase that you're temporarily using is just poof, gone, and that's it. So your crypto should still be okay so long as you still have the correct passphrase for it.
And yeah, definitely, if that's not it, I think maybe it might be something we can go through with you in more detail as well. Always here.
Yeah, exactly. Questions. Otherwise, just send us a little ticket and we'll gladly take a look at it.
Exactly right. All right. Next up was Robert Vermouth. Really appreciate you guys doing this. Love the Ledger products. Love the fans.
Thank you.
For sure.
Appreciate it.
Can't wait to be able to get the Stacks device. To be honest, me too. I'm very, very excited to do so as well. Block X Block. When creating a BTC wallet, why is there a choice between Segwit and native Segwit? Which is better to choose? I think, well, first of all, totally normal. The reason is different. I would say a format, address format, account format, probably all. I'm not sure which one I might use without going into a deep rant about everything. What would you say?
I mean, if I'm going to keep it super simple, personally, I use native Segwits quite simply because it tends to be a bit cheaper in the transaction fees. Now, as to why you have the choice between them, well, first off, we kind of believe in giving people choice, but there's also another reason. Although it's not common, there are some exchanges, wallets, platforms that still to this day do not support native Segwit. So if you would enter your native Segwit address belonging to your Ledger device there, they're just going to say, no, that's invalid, even though it's totally legitimate. Because of that, we still give the option of being able to add a Segwit account instead, because that might be supported on those platforms. So it's just a way that if that really doesn't work, then here you go. You have another option to still get your Bitcoin.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, it's not that common. I would have
Very
thought now.
rare. Yeah, it's very rare.
But I remember when it first came out, adoption was relatively slow. And
Very. I mean, Taproot right now is also pretty slow, for example.
yeah,
Like we have it, but definitely not everyone.
and why? And then yeah, it makes it like, oh, why would you use it? Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it's a whole nother scenario. But
I remember when I just joined Ledger, we got sorry, not Taproot, Native Segwit pretty quickly after, but we were one of the first ones. Like we were very quick on that.
right. Next up, Spacecrafter. Where's the dedicated video for passphrase, how it's derived, and showing a wallet with passphrase recovery to a third-party wallet? So
Like that question.
So I think the latter part, to a third-party software wallet, I don't know that we have a specific video for it.
Yeah, we don't. But what you can keep in mind is that most third-party wallets honestly tend to cater to one particular crypto, or perhaps a network. For example, Ethereum and EVM based, or Cosmos and all Cosmos based chains. But there are definitely wallets out there that supports the passphrase feature as well. Alternatively, and this is kind of a last case scenario, there is something called the Ian Coleman tool, where you can derive individual private keys based from your 24-word recovery phrase, and it's passphrase compatible. So you can get any kind of private key directly from there. So there's always going to be a way to access it.
I think that's definitely something for the more technical out there, and it's definitely something we normally don't like to recommend, because it can put your funds at risk, because you're basically entering your phrase somewhere that isn't the device, right? So please know what you're doing there. Maybe get all your devices off, assets off those specific addresses. But I think the good thing that I used to, the thing that I used it for personally was just to understand everything. Just be like, putting the passphrase here, what does it change? How does it change? And everything like that. What is this text bar? What does this mean? What is the expert? What is this? So it gives you a better idea if you ever want to dive into that. With regards to, I think it was how it's derived. I think, you derive the passphrase because you were the one that's entering it.
Yep.
But I know that it was mentioned in one of the, I have to dig it out somewhere, but also in the Recover white paper, the way that they make the entropy or your private key is like, you have the text of your recovery phrase, and then you have your passphrase, and they do a pass, a certain hash over that pass. So just to get really technical there. And that's how they derive that, the private key that you then derive everything else from with your derivation paths. So hopefully that gives you enough information. Hopefully it's not too much as well there, Spacecrafter. All right. Enough said. Hopefully, hopefully we were able to get through to that, get an answer to that question as well. But yeah, we're always here. Support.ledger.com if you need as well. Next up, Anthony Ebron. I'm new at this, and I would like to know, what do you do with NFTs that you receive through Ledger? Because it could be a couple of things, right? It could be the potential scam NFTs, which means just don't interact with them. You can just hide them within Ledger Live. Don't interact with them on chain. Don't send them or anything like that. But the next thing would be, what would you do with them in general? I mean,
depends.
Yeah, it depends on the actual project as well, right? Because some are based as some kind of ownership of the actual art itself. Some would be as a pass. Some use it as a pass, and you might have to connect with a certain website, for example, to show that your address holds the NFT, to be like, hey,
proof of ownership.
Yeah, yep. I can now access this content, for example. I think a cool one would be you can actually buy a Ledger device with one of the NFT with an NFT as well. You can buy it from what I always forget, not OpenSea, but the Rarible. That's the one. Yeah. As well, there's a bunch you can buy them on, and yeah, you can definitely do that too.
Yeah, that's how I got my black on black edition, and it looks pretty cool on top, to be honest.
I think it's a cool way to give someone something to
Absolutely.
someone. So gets them into it, help onboard, the next couple of users, 2 users for every one that's already here,
Yeah, I also find it personally the smoothest way to actually purchase a ledger device with crypto. So that kind of opens that door too. But yeah, just really a warning. If it's just a NFT that you randomly received, probably best not to touch it. If it's one that you actually were meant to receive, then okay, nothing to worry about.
Right. Next up, French Toaster. How do you
Love the name.
yeah. How do you update or sync Ledger Live, the Android app? You made a BTC account on your PC, but it's not showing up on your app. And so I think the main piece of confusion there would be that it doesn't automatically sync because it's not like we have all of your data and saying, hey, this is all of the accounts that you have, right? There is an export accounts function in the desktop version of your Ledger Live. I think it's settings. I think it's about or about. Okay, about and then export.
Or was it accounts? I'm not so sure. One of the two.
Yeah.
One of the two.
Definitely be able to check. There's only like up to 5-ish tabs, so you just click through them, and there'll be an export account for sure. And then what will come up is a big QR code, and you use your Ledger on your mobile app to actually scan the QR code. It'll cycle through and it'll add all of the accounts that you have. And that's the way that it's being done for now. So you'll be able to see both your accounts, both in your phone and on your desktop as well.
Yeah, indeed. So just short version, they are indeed local files. So they don't sync over a cloud or something like that. So yeah, you would have to individually add the accounts, and the export option from Ledger Live Desktop honestly is the quickest and easiest way to do that, rather than having to do it one by one by one.
Right. No, thank you. Enough said as well, just by the way. Lexa Pro, I'm assuming that I'm just going to shorten it there. Maybe the recover feature is good for somebody, but wouldn't it be better if you release a new device with this feature and not everyone would have to update on his or her device? I think this specific question, was better answered by was it Chardy
Yeah.
on either the Twitter thread or definitely in the blog as well. I think I can't really speak for like whether it'd be better or not. I'm not like an engineer here or anything like that, so it wouldn't be something that I'd want to like put words in their mouth or anything. But I definitely check out the article. I'm not sure if there's anything specific wording that you had from him at all, because I think the way that I interpreted what he said, because this is how I saw it, is that it still doesn't change the software of what is it, the security model. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. You don't introduce new risk, you don't introduce any new surfaces for someone to attack the hardware device itself, right? So like there's nothing that's changed for you not using the feature.
Yeah, and a way that I personally always kind of like to envision it is, when you use a Ledger device, you're using it to sign transactions and, make sure that transaction hash or signature, I should say, is sent back to your computer so that it can be broadcasted. Your Ledger device is not able to provide that signature hash without you doing anything. The exact same standard goes here. It's not automatically going to send anything out without you manually approving it. So we still have the exact same threat model here, as you indeed mentioned correctly. Yeah,
that's the real word there.
Well, security model works too. Actually, it's yeah.
But yeah, I really like the still everyone's trying to verify for themselves, and I think one of the main things that I did right afterwards as well is when it was released is to read the white paper. It gets super technical, let's be honest. Like I had to go through do a couple passes, but it really gives you a cool idea for like what they've taken into account, what you know, what's good, like how they accounted for nearly everything. It's crazy, and there's a lot more than there was a lot of information that I had to take in there for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Crypto Professor managed to get stacks on the wallet on mobile.
Awesome.
Cool. Just noticed the price of stacks is showing incorrectly.
Ooh. Okay.
Just putting on your radar. Thanks, gents. Peace. Yeah, definitely we'll keep that written down for sure.
Yeah, thank you for notifying us, because yeah, that's not supposed to be the case. So thanks.
Yeah, thank you. I'm sure you already know it doesn't affect the actual price of it, and also you can always check third-party apps for anyone else that might want to know as well. All right, Spacecrafter, can you tell me a third-party software wallet to recover BTC in an emergency? Electrum,
Yep,
the big boy, you know, one of the older ones.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I could also use one of the new ones would be Sparrow, so that would be another one.
I was about to say that one.
I don't think it was not necessarily used as much, but I don't think I think especially because we try to go through wallets that always have the ledger integration as well, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to necessarily, like in an emergency, like you said, you can use a lot of software wallets and just input the recovery phrase, right? But that'd be an emergency scenario. If you wanted to make sure to keep it on the device, you can these are the ones that we always mention because they have the option of not doing so as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll give you two options there for sure. It's a pro. And how would Ledger know it's actually me with the subscription? There are a lot of deep fakes. AI, can you describe how the subscription works, the process? I think the process would be something you would want to go through on the FAQ. Again, sorry to keep directing there because they're definitely very in-depth questions, at least with the latter one, for sure. Go through the FAQ and you can look through that as well for how the subscription works. And we'll definitely give it all to you in a lot more detail when it's like something that is fully released. Yeah. Deepfakes. This is one because I don't think deepfakes. Honestly, I use AI a lot. Images, everything like that. It's still not that up to par in my opinion. I don't think that if I still think I see a video, I know that it's a deepfake in all things.
And here's another thing. Let's say at some point deepfakes are that advanced that our naked human eye is not going to be able to tell the difference. Software still will. Mm-hmm. So that's also still something to keep to consider, at least there.
It's also something to note that you can't just part of the process. I know just talking about not Ledger Recover, but like in terms of general KYC stuff that I've done for like cards and stuff like that. They ask you to say something, they ask you to move in a certain way.
Yep.
And that's definitely not something that you can replicate immediately. Remember, you got a bank of H100s and they're just generating this data, but it still takes maybe hours, days to make like anything that might be of remote quality as well. Don't get me wrong, generative AI is like really great.
It's super powerful.
Yeah, it's just software is still, it's a cat and mouse game, and it's still not even they're still not that far ahead.
Yeah, and indeed, there's going to be basically a prompt that you'll have to say, and like a deepfake is not going to immediately on the spot be able to give that prompt, which is going to be different every single time. But lastly, like just remember, optional service. You do not have to use it. Mm-hmm. It's completely up to you.
All right, Triple XA. Can I download Hashpack Wallet for HBAR? Yep, on Android, or is it just on desktop?
I thought it was. I have an iPhone, so I cannot test that one.
And I thought it would be a good idea to leave my phone at my desk, so I don't have it. I don't think. Actually, you know what? I won't say because I'm not 100% sure of the answer there. But we can always double check for you. Normally, yeah, if you just type in Hashpack, looks like it is.
I do see something on the iPhone. Now, I can't say I'm 100% sure that's legitimate. So always be very careful with that. But I do see something that actually pops up here that looks promising. But again, do your own research. I would really recommend that just to be on the safe side.
I think also the other thing I always talk about there is like, what are you hoping to do there? Are you hoping to sign transactions with it? You got to make sure that oh, Wild Bill, you have Hashack on Android.
Oh, well,
it's perfect.
that answers. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
But I think it's like, if you're doing something specific, we might need to go into more detail about like what might even be possible with the app as well, because I think if I remember correctly, you would want to be on the desktop if you're wanting to set up your Hashack for the first time, if I remember. It's a lot of information. I don't know if I'm 100%. I'd normally double check on the computer actually. But yeah, that's the kind of thing you'd want to maybe double check our Help Center articles about as well. But yeah, definitely have the app on Android for sure. So thanks again, Anthony, French Toaster, for all the questions as well. Alexa Pro, Spacecrafter, everyone, love it always. Let's keep going. We've only got 25-ish minutes left, so yeah, just another update. Yeah, don't give out your 24 words. Don't sign any transactions you don't trust. Keep popping those questions into the chat. We'll keep on trying to answering them as well.
Yep.
Near wallet is being disconnected. Wild Bill 419. Can I put Near straight through the Ledger Nano X?
Supported in Ledger Live.
Supported in Ledger
Yep.
Live.
You can actually manage Near directly in Ledger Live, and you can stake from there as well. So yeah, that's definitely doable.
So make sure you're all up to date and everything.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The general stuff. I'm sure you've heard of Wild Bill, so no
I
worries.
think there was also, I'm gonna double check this, but I think there was also something called My Near Wallet, which sounds very similar to My Ether Wallet, but for Near. So I will quickly double check that, but at any rate, you can use Ledger Live for it. That is indeed certain.
Exactly right. It's I always like to mention, just because you're managing it with the device doesn't mean, other way around, sorry. Just because Ledger Live doesn't support something doesn't mean you can don't have to use your Ledger device to manage it. To be honest, I actually use my Ledger device with third-party apps all the time. Not that I dislike Ledger Live, of course, I'm biased there, definitely love it. But I think it's like using third-party applications opens up the world to like everything you can do with your device itself. And integration, having a look at the developer docs isn't the most horrible. It's definitely a lot to go through if you're not a developer, but it's definitely really cool to see. Like, it's pretty simple. Just whack a couple of things in there and you can integrate a ledger into any dApp. So if you're doing that, you can definitely have a look at that as well.
Yep. And just to come back, My Near Wallet indeed has a connect with Ledger option. So that should be another third-party wallet option if you like.
Right, Alexa Pro mentions that it's his first time using a large hardware wallet, so that's the reason they're so concerned. Sorry, not going to assume gender. When I ordered my Ledger had saved my data, so they know this belongs to me. They know that we have to know, your address and potential identity to send you the device itself. We don't actually have the data like readily available for us to know.
We wouldn't link individual devices with your personal information.
That's the big one actually. Yeah. And also, like, I think the other thing, here's how you might work, is like you've got your Ledger device itself. It is the thing that generates the recovery phrase, which regardless of whether you own a device or not, has no link to you purchasing the device. Because it's generated randomly on the device itself. So no worry about the link in terms of connecting the two. I definitely understand the concern about having data. And, it's if I today was to go into whatever database and try to look for customer data, I wouldn't be able to find like every single person that's ever ordered a Ledger device or anything like that whatsoever. Otherwise, they'd probably drag me out. They'd be watching me with a hawk eyes and stuff like that. So
it's quite simple. We want to have as little data as possible on everyone. So
we wouldn't want to be put in the position to give it away because we don't want to have it. We don't. We want to make sure that you guys are best served, and this is part of the way that you guys are best served as well. So I love the questions because it's like you want to know that you're safe, and that's part of the reason.
Yeah, vigilance is always important, especially in the crypto space. So keep asking those kind of questions, quite honestly.
Yeah, 100%. But definitely no reason to be concerned about, the identity or anything like that. And, it's a very, I wouldn't say a long journey, but there's a lot to learn, in the crypto space itself. And then when you're adding on the hardware wallet aspect and stuff like that, it's another step to go. So 100%. We got a question from Dan Johanny. Not sure if I mentioned that right, so definitely let me know. You've got a $5,000 voucher in your account. Is it legit?
No, that's definitely not legit. So this is the traditional spam NFT where it's like, oh, hey, go to this particular website and claim your $5,000 worth of certain crypto. This is a scam. Never touch that NFT. The only thing I would recommend in this kind of case is right-clicking in Ledger Live and hiding it, because that is absolutely not legitimate. Please do not interact with these kind of fake voucher or fake NFTs.
100%. Just flat out illegal. I think I always try to think about them like, what is the word? If it's too good to be true, like you just see it and it's like, wait, why did someone give me $5,000, 500,000 ship?
Yeah, it's like someone on the street is not just randomly going to hand you $5,000 either. I mean, I wish, but
Yeah, I know, Dan. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. We gotta grind it out the hard way, unfortunately. I think.
But that's the thing on blockchains where it's quite cheap. So this kind of voucher you will most commonly see, for example, on Polygon. Not the only one out there, by the way. But yeah, when you spot that kind of stuff, do not interact with it.
Right. Lexa Pro. For example, I am X and you are Y. How would Ledger know that this ledger belongs to me? I'm asking because of the subscription. I'm assuming you're talking about if you're wanting to recover the assets, then there would be a process of that verification itself.
It's not connected to the ledger device, however.
Mm-hmm.
So, because keep in mind, what can absolutely happen is you lost your recovery phrase, you lost your ledger device, you still need to be able to recover. So it is not actually bound to your particular ledger device. You can absolutely do this on another one as well. As a matter of fact, let's say you have one functional ledger device and you also want the other one to have the exact same 24 words on it. Ledger Recover would be an option for that kind of service too. So it's not connected to your ledger device itself.
Yeah, but how would they know that it's part of the whole jet verification process? I think it's definitely something that you wouldn't necessarily be able to know a whole lot now necessarily, because it's not a product that's released, but it's the kind of thing that we'll definitely want to be guide you through the whole process when it is something that we have out there for you. So I totally understand the question there. So we'll make sure to have lots of documentation. I think it's definitely good for everyone to make sure.
Absolutely, and keep in mind there is actually already quite a bit out there. So I forgot what the series was called, but we actually did a 6-part series that goes more in depth into Ledger Recover as well. So I would highly recommend actually checking that out because it answers a lot of questions that you might potentially have.
I think it's on the Ledger blog.
Yes,
something like that.
Yes,
not the donjon, but yeah, Ledger blog.
Yeah,
but yeah, for sure. Thank you, Dan. As all the questions, everything like that, we're always here. On which ledger will Recover feature be released? It isn't a product that's released on specific devices. It's something that you would be able to do. What is the word I'm looking for? It's not going to be on all devices all at once, but it is something that will be on the Ledger Nano X.
Ledger Nano X would be
the first one for sure.
I can't say I know the ins and outs yet about the Ledger Nano S Plus or Stacks, so I couldn't really confidently answer that. I believe the Ledger Nano S, the older one, was not going to get it, but I can't say I'm 100% sure there either.
Yeah, again, I think that's part of the thing that they've considered is like, it doesn't change the threat model, and that's the reason. you wouldn't want to, like, we don't want to put a word in their mouth and say it'll never happen, or that it will happen as well, right? Like, it's still something we're all looking to build for you guys, 100%.
Yeah, indeed.
Right.
Well said.
Oliver, will you be able to generate new BTC receive address QR codes on the new Ledger stacks without Ledger Live?
So I think currently you would still have to connect your Ledger stacks to Ledger Live in order to get that prompt. But the QR code can be displayed on the Ledger stacks. So you would be able to have the QR code and just beep, show it from there. So that is actually kind of a cool feature.
Maybe I'm an ETH maxi, but like I would just put the single ETH address.
Static.
Yeah. That's
I mean, here's the beauty. You could actually set that as your locking screen. So even when your Ledger device is turned off, you could have a QR code of your favorite crypto and use it whenever you want, just like that. Pretty cool.
No financial advice, of course.
No.
But point of sale. I think that would be a cool thing to use the stacks for. That's what I've always thought would be really cool. Anyway, sorry guys. Wild Bill. Anyone who has the passphrase has, so I'm assuming you mean recovery phrase there,
Yep.
has control of the assets. The assets aren't tied to the person. The passphrase, recovery phrase, is the key to the vault.
Correct.
Is, yeah, 100% right.
Yep.
I think there's definitely a little bit of misalignment in terms of knowledge about like, oh, I haven't connected my device. Why did my assets get taken away, for example?
Yeah.
And it's always tough to have these conversations, but it's exactly what you said, well, Bill.
Yeah, it's those are the sad but true stories where, you know, we do notice that someone didn't fully, unfortunately, grasp the part of what a recovery phrase is. And yeah, it's really the key thing to understand when using a Ledger device.
Don't ever put it on a computer. Don't ever. I actually had this conversation, you know, with someone, and they were like, "Oh I want to keep it on my phone. The assets haven't been taken," but it doesn't mean that, you know, there might be someone that might come in later and see it on the device itself, things like that. Especially things on the cloud. Once it's on the cloud, you know, not to be too crazy, but like, it's basically there forever.
Yeah.
You have to trust someone like a cloud provider, so Google, to make sure that they do delete it.
And please never do.
It's exactly what happened at the start. And yeah, don't trust, verify. If you can verify, that's all you can. Well, that's the best thing you can do, I think, for sure. Guys, keep popping those questions. Loving it today with all of them. So yeah, we're always here to keep answering them. I think I may as well go into, you know, the streams we have for, you know, the rest of the week. Only, you know, one more day for Friday. Always there'll be something on our website as well, so you can always check the schedule, both US time and also European time in terms of evening. If you want to get a hold of us, and then support.ledger.com as well. I think it's always really important if you have any questions. I think not a lot of people, actually, I think a lot of people know that we don't just answer questions about the Ledger devices, but we try to answer questions about everything as best we can, at least.
Yep.
Honestly, we just here to chat shop about crypto. At least I am. So
yeah, no, right there with you. I mean, yeah, we are, aside of obviously Ledger employees, we are also crypto enthusiasts. So, you know, if you have questions about maybe how a particular crypto, for example, works, don't hesitate.
We're all, yeah, and the guys are more than happy to answer that for you as well. Have a look out. And a lot of the guys also spend a lot of time going through and writing like a huge amount of articles, right? Like, I think it's crazy. So I think it's really important. You can always search through the articles as well. Like Pro, there are a lot of fake Ledger support Twitter accounts. Yes, I definitely agree with that. Why wouldn't Ledger do something against them? I wrote them some. I wrote with some of them, but didn't do what they said to me. Thank you for the answers. Yeah, it's a tough thing because you have to rely on Twitter or X, formerly Twitter, to take them down. Yeah. My understanding, and not even just from a Ledger perspective, because I'm not the one, you know, doing the writing and stuff like that. It's tough. It's tough for every business. You see things for airdrops for all kinds of other foundations and stuff like that, and it's just about maintaining that vigilance that you definitely have. I 100% commend that and especially just writing to them, taking up their time. Not something you normally recommend, but if you want to do it, I think it does a public good, honestly.
Yeah, and rest assured, we are doing that on our end as well every single day. It's just they keep popping up everywhere, and yeah, we try. Trust us, we try.
It's definitely trivial. It's like a trivial to create accounts. You buy Twitter Blue subscription. That is trivial as well. The corporate accounts are a bit harder, but they still happen as well. And yeah, you then have access. Then as part of the algorithm, you then are boosted and you see them a lot more as well. So I definitely understand the frustration. Definitely see them a lot. It's everywhere. I don't know. For me, I just continue reporting, and I guess that's the life scrolling. So
Yep, the endless cycle.
but it happens on, Reddit. They're getting better on Reddit, but it's still tough everywhere, right? Like, and I think it's just about maintaining that vigilance for sure.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, next up, Oliver. What features would you want to see in future Ledger devices?
I love this question.
Um,
I would kind of love to see a Ledger device that can broadcast transactions on its own.
mhm.
So not needing to use it with your smartphone or with a desktop or something like that. Where literally you have your Ledger device, that's all you need.
Do you think it'd be? You think it's too much to ask to have it be like without a 4G card? It's just literally straight out of the box. That'd be,
No 4G card.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's also, of course, the question of how do you do that and securely as well, because we can never, ever, ever compromise on security. That's the one big thing, of course.
100%.
But yeah, I would love that. How about you?
I think to put it simply, it'd be like a device without apps. Just it can sign. You just sign transactions. It's just signs, right? Like whatever it is, it might take a little longer, but it just goes up. Like maybe it has to download the app. In this scenario, it's still using the phone, but you might download the app and then sign it, and then it goes back, and it's all seamless, right? So you don't even have to think about apps anymore. I think that's the thing I think would be great for the UX especially. This is the thing I keep realizing every day. I'm like, oh, the UX is pretty good. I don't know why people don't get it, but it's because we're in it. You're just in it that you don't really see it. You know what I mean? So yeah, just to make it really simple, one click send or maybe couple clicks just to be sure. But,
Yeah. I'm also wondering, like, perhaps Ledger beyond crypto, like passwordless device where you can just touch your device with anything that, I don't know, can maybe connect to Bluetooth or NFC, something like that, and just unlock, I don't know, your Twitter account or whatnot instead of having to enter a password.
Well, it's kind of, I mean, not to be a complete shill, but it's already there, right? The security key app and stuff like that.
It is, but you still have to connect it via cable.
That is true. But yeah,
that's true though, and I do actually. It's such a criminally underused feature though.
There are a lot. So it's just about trying to continue. The UX may not be all the way there, but it's trying to push that and go from there.
Yeah,
100%. All right. Lexapro. What would happen if I don't update my firmware for my ledger? Eventually, it would stop working.
Yeah.
Why is that though? I always go back to a specific example of I think it was Ledger Nano. No, the Bitcoin app, where there was a deprecation of certain features to go from the older version to the newer version.
Yeah.
And if you don't update the app, you will just flat out, it will stop working. Doesn't mean you can't use it with another, potentially use it with another wallet, for example, for a while. But even third-party other wallets, even if they move slow, would still continue to update as well as the blockchains too. You think about Solidity having new versions. You think about updates to just even proof of work to proof of stake for Ethereum.
Yeah, I mean, any kind of fork basically could annul the compatibility, and we may need to update an app for that. Apps on a Ledger device will always only be released on the latest firmware to make sure that it stays compatible with that, because we can't account for every single firmware version that we've ever released to remain compatible that way. So we only release it on the latest one. So ultimately, down the road, at some point, is going to cause an issue.
I get it, but it's also like you'd want to be on the latest version, even if you have concerns about, you've been asking questions about Ledger Recover. Again, don't want it, don't use it. Should work out perfectly, and I hope that the answers to your questions could help you ease your mind about that. It's definitely totally no change in the threat model, as we mentioned. Oliver. Yeah, at some level of complexity, the device basically becomes a smartphone with all its attack vectors.
Yeah, and that's where we need to have that balance between, ease of use, but also security. And at least, that's our specialty. So rest assured, if we're ever going to take that kind of direction, security will always be the priority.
100%. Street Fighter. What is the problem with sending XRP from Lobster to XRP on Ledger Live Nano X?
I have the answer for this one. So this is particular with Lobster. I think I may get the words wrong, but I think there was a send button and a withdraw button. And one of these two didn't actually work for sending your crypto to Ledger. So it's either you need to use the send button or you need to withdraw button. And from there, it will actually work after that. So that there was just a bit of the confusion in the naming there.
Oliver, I use YubiKeys and using the U2F app on Ledger and having security key tied to the word passphrase to the app. It's behind a thing. To a 24-word passphrase or recovery phrase is fascinating. Definitely is.
Absolutely.
I don't know if you have used it, Oliver, but there's also I've shielded it so many times internally.
Password.
The password app.
Yeah.
So
that's one's my favorite too.
you can go cyclical with this, and I think one of my colleagues mentioned I had too much security, but how you might do it is I have my Google account with 2FA from the Ledger device. Now I had a passphrase on top, and then that's where I use my password app with my nicknames. My nickname, I'm giving away all my security here, by the way, but my nicknames are potentially, let's say, on a password manager, so I can always remember them in case I need to reset the device or something like that. And that way I know that my passwords are never on the password manager, but I know I always have them on some cloud service. Also, the password manager is also connected with 2FA, so everything is tried to be connected together. Maybe it's too complex, but it's just definitely an exercise. I'm not necessarily saying that's the best setup, by the way. So,
but it is fascinating. Like, it kind of shows you the kind of paths that you can take to really increase your security.
There are some customers that, and then they start considering, there's multi-sig, and then you can have, multiple devices with multi-sig, and then once you have that with Ledger Recover, then then I don't know. It's too many options at that point, right? Like, because then you don't even really have to worry about this is the thing. I think a lot of I think we're running out of time, but
yeah,
we're on a rant. The thing about people, I think the latest thing is about recovery phrase. It's the one UX piece that is hurting a lot of people. And how do we do that? I've definitely talked about ERC 4337 before. And then there's also things like Ledger Recover, and it's two different ways of just not dealing with the recovery phrase, or not totally not, but like trying to
have a different way of
trying to have it not be a single point of failure. I think is a really important part. So
absolutely.
I guess we'll finish it up there. Definitely ended on a bit of a rant. So hopefully you guys got all your questions answered. It's definitely going to be one tomorrow, and next week as well. We'll have all the questions, all the streams as well for you guys. So definitely keep an ear out from there. Please, as well, don't give out your 24 words. Don't sign any transactions you don't trust. And I don't know if there's anything else other than that. All right,
no.
Cool.
Okay.
Have a good day. Stay safe in markets out there. See you guys.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.